Good evening, folks. This is Anne Marie. This is a SPY report for Thursday, September the 12th. We will be looking at a number of longer-term formations simply because we will be out of the office on Friday, so there will be no video on Friday and no new updates due to travel. So let's take a look at SPY, see what we're looking at. Let me make sure that I have saved this as a default template. All right. And I apologize for the ambient noise. Big evening this evening. All right, so let's slip back to a 4-hour chart, see what it is that we are looking at overall. We've got the chart headed up into this 1618, filling the gap and now moving into relative congestion. Should be. It did stall out here a little bit, but the charts are moving up quite nicely, and looks like we ought to hold it. You know, this is a pretty sharp move upside, but it looks good. Still holding momentum, still having slope. There are a lot of things that look really good about the trade. Let's expand it to a daily and see if I'm going to delete this for the moment because it's noisy. We'll see if we can see any other gaps or any spaces that we might run into trouble. Still looks like 169.81, and that'll be the number that we'll be looking at. Coming into the 1-hour chart, we can see flattening momentum. A little damp, but again, as long as we hold the moving averages, it is unreasonable for us to consider a short. That's just not something that we ought to do. Coming back here, we've got a pretty tight little S-curve event here. So if it does come back, holds R2 of the weekly pivot, or it comes back into the prior day's pivot and holds, it should have more upside. It could also chop around while this drifts lower. That way it can work off a little bit of momentum, but as it looks right now, nice and clean. Short should open up at the loss of the prior day's pivot. Long should open up above the high of the prior day. And it's easy as that. Just don't play in the middle. Don't mess around in there. If you do that, you'll be in really, really good shape. Let's take a look at the IWM. Let's load this default template and move the volume up here. See what we've got. Folks, if you missed the SMB webinar, it was fun. So you'll have to take a look at the SMB site and see if you can listen to it. All right, IWM doesn't look quite the way the SPY does. As a matter of fact, this is the S-curve event. It's already come all the way back here. So this is actually popping. It seems like the TF is moving ahead of the ES there. And so again, we've got this region right here, and then we've got this region up here. Let's expand it to a daily. Make sure we're looking at, yep, good crossover above the 0 line. I'm going to delete that. You know, I wonder, yes, this could be another formation of interest, but we still have this little double gap event here where a little bit of noise and not quite closed completely, but closed for the most part. It did come almost right into the target. Wow, what a great trajectory. Hopefully you used that information and you were able to trade, because that just came right into it. What a beautiful thing. Now you know definitely how to look at support and resistance. It's not always the tallest, but it's where most of the noise sits. And so above this 105.27-ish area, we should pop into 105.60 and then, 106-ish. Below, I don't know, maybe below this region right here, we've got ourselves shorting action and a test of this clustering. But if we have momentum and we're moving up against and away from the moving averages, that is upside momentum. Things look really, really good there from that perspective. We take a look at the 4-hour chart. Looks like it's flattening out a little bit, but not too much. Yeah. And still looking upside, still the same parameters. Finally looking at the hourly, we can see this press up and the pull back into the space. So this is a brand new pop over this area. Should open up the long, really, and that should stair step right into these top levels. I like it. It's expanding still. I am bullish on the market, but a little nerve-wracked about what's going on here. Formation-wise, it seems to be running too fast, but you know what? It is what it is, and so we just have to trade what we see, not what we think. Let's taking a look at the Qs last. Let's expand out into the daily chart like we have for the others. Take a look at what we are seeing. We do have all of this action finally clearing. This has been a beautiful long, folks. We've been talking about it since the breach of the 77.26 area, 77.30. We popped up into 78.32, now pulling back into 77.92. I think 77.75 is a nice little stopping space for us. Good trailing stop, I think. Below that, we'll come into this region right here. And above it, 78.32, we should get ourselves into 79. That is our target space. Momentum drifting really, really sharply here. That's the one thing. And I did notice today, although it did recover, I did notice that this chart was quite a bit weaker than the other charts. All right, pulling into the 4-hour, we can see gap fill event, pop off the 10. Really looks pretty, right? The pop up over 78.32 is in, really good shape. Really, really, really good shape. I like how the chart looks overall. I'm a little bit concerned about dampening momentum, but not very much. Seems to be that it looks pretty good here. This is actually a really nice place to take this long. Up above this region right here, and then it'll come right back into this area, breach over the top, and then we're off to the races. That's a good looking chart. If it loses the 77.75-ish area, we do know that there's going to be continued downside action. All right. Hey, good luck trading tomorrow and Friday. Use caution and be careful.